Ah, the heartbreak. G'day my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kathy and this is where I talk about my plants and anything else that I'm passionate about. Today, I am going to be talking about falling out of love with our plants. In fact, this is going to be the first in a series of videos that I'm going to be calling My 2 Cents Worth, where I will be talking about a particular topic, whether it's plant related or not. I thought it might be an interesting subject because I think it occurs to all of us at some point or another. I don't think we actually fall out of love with all of our plants, but I'm sure that can happen as well. But I'm specifically talking about, say, 1 or 2 or several of your plants that you just don't love anymore. Because I know that has definitely happened to me. And I was thinking about it the other day as to why. Why do we fall out of love with a particular plant? And I thought I would share with you my thoughts on this subject. I do believe that one of the reasons I have fallen out of love with a plant is because I didn't fall in love with it in the first place. Last year is when I started collecting plants, around March or April. And by spring, which starts in September in Australia, I just wanted more and more plants. And I had done some research and aglaonemas seemed a good fit for me. And I remember going to a nursery and seeing one that was a little too expensive for what I wanted. And I was at Bunnings one day and they had an aglaonema and I thought, wow, I've never seen them here. And it was the Night Sparkle. It might even be called Starshine. And as you can tell, I really don't love it because I don't remember its name. Beautiful in its own way, but not my cup of tea. It is white and pink and they are definitely not my colours. But because I wanted an aglaonema, I ended up buying it and bringing it home. And I think I never loved it, not from day one. And that's probably why it isn't doing very well, because it knows I don't love it. It makes me feel very guilty that perhaps that is the reason it has been declining all this time. But on the other hand, I feel that I should not have brought it home if it wasn't a plant that I really loved. I think that is a lesson that I've learned in the last 12 months. Other reasons that we may bring a plant home is because we've seen it on Instagram or on YouTube and it's trending and we think, oh, well, we must have it. I have to admit I'm not really guilty of that, but I have seen a lot of people commenting that, it was trending, so they decided to bring it home. And I don't think that is a good reason to bring a plant home any more than my reasons for bringing the aglaonema home. I think that our plants would be happier and we will be happier if we choose plants that we really do love, that speak to us on some level. I know that there are certainly some plants that I will see that I've never heard of, that I fall in love with immediately. And most of the time, I don't fall out of love with those plants. So that is a second reason that I think we buy plants sometimes when we really don't love them. Another reason is that it may be cheap, because that's always a good reason to get plants. And we think, well, we just want to add more greenery without having done our research or anything like that. Another reason that I believe I have fallen out of love with a plant is because I am sick to death of it. Or it gives me a headache. That's what I call it anyway, where I am sick to death of stressing over a plant that just will not do well in my home. I can give it more light, less light, more water, less water. I don't know about you, but I can get so tired of those kinds of plants. And sometimes what I end up doing is just throwing them outside and saying, I don't care if you live or die. Oh, wow, that sounds really bad. But honestly, I don't know. Is it just me? where you just get so frustrated with a plant because it doesn't matter what you do for it, it still does not want to do well in your home? I actually do have a funny story. Well, I don't know if it's funny, but I guess you'll let me know if it is or not. I have a China doll plant, Radiomacra, I think it is, and I know I mispronounced that because I always do. Regardless, it is a very delicate looking plant. And as you know, I really love delicate little leaves. So when I saw it, I thought, oh, this looks really interesting. I like this plant. And I bought it last April. And so I've had it, almost a year and a half now. I did a lot of research before I bought it, so I knew that it was finicky, that it was known for dropping its leaves, or notorious for dropping its leaves. And I thought I understood what it required, but it did not matter. Oh my God. This plant, I swear, I looked at it and it would drop a leaf. It was ridiculous. It didn't matter where I put it in my home, it kept dropping its leaves. I gave it medium light, it dropped leaves. I gave it high light, it dropped leaves. I gave it lower light, it dropped leaves. And it's not like I just moved it every time it didn't do well. I would give it time to acclimate in its new space, and it really did not matter. This plant was not happy in my home. I was so sick of it by the end that I thought, fine, she can go outside and live or die. I just don't care anymore. It was spring, and I didn't just put her out in the sun immediately. I let her acclimate, and surprisingly, she thrived. She is flourishing. She looks spectacular, and I just cannot get over the transformation. She clearly is so much happier outside than she was in my home. Sometimes plants can be very, very surprising. And when winter rolled around in June in Australia, I was undecided whether to bring her back indoors because I was a bit concerned that she would just drop all her leaves again. But I had done some research and it seemed that she could tolerate our cold weather. So I thought, fine, I'll leave her outdoors. If I notice she's declining, then I'll bring her back in. She didn't. And as you can see, she is flourishing. She is so happy, and I absolutely love this plant now. But I don't think I will ever bring her indoors because I don't think she'll be happy. I think a lot of us forget, and definitely I do, that there is really no such thing as an indoor plant. It's a fiction that we have created. So perhaps some plants are simply not going to like the conditions in our homes. And I definitely believe that those difficult, fussy plants that you stress over are plants that you tend to fall out of love with, because who the hell wants a diva all the time? I know I call calatheas divas, but they're definitely not as much as this China doll was. They may get those crispy leaves, but I know why. I know that they either prefer to get distilled water or rainwater, or that there isn't enough humidity. But this China doll plant, I could not figure out what I could give it to make it happy. A third reason that I have discovered in myself anyway as to why I will fall out of love with the plant is because it is a pest magnet. My croton, I swear that thing just needs to look at you and it gets pests. I got so tired of it constantly getting pests that I really found myself disliking it and thinking, I don't like this plant anymore. So I put that one outside because that is generally my solution to major problems, is throw them outdoors and let them sink or swim. But obviously you can't always do that, especially with some plants. My croton actually did fare well outdoors until the weather got cold. When it got cold, it dropped all its bottom leaves and looked so sad that I ended up bringing it back inside, but I kept it in isolation because I didn't trust it anymore. I thought this thing gets pests all the time, no matter how healthy it was. And I thought, no, I'm not going to put it anywhere near my other plants because I'm sure it will get pests again. I have to admit, I didn't find any pests on it in the winter, but because I don't trust it, back outside it went. So we will see how it does. The weather is, of course, much warmer now, but that one I definitely stopped loving because it gave me such a headache worrying about pests. And I will admit that my white butterfly syngonium, which was attacked by spider mites in winter, well, I don't know if it was the first plant that got spider mites, but it is the first plant I found them on. I will admit that it completely put me off the plant. I found that I just didn't like it anymore. I treated it and it recovered, but I never quite looked at it the same way. And it really wasn't the fault of the plant, but it didn't matter. I just found I don't really love this plant. I also think that it might have been a plant that I chose simply because I wanted more plants in my home, not because it was one that really spoke to me. I really have fallen out of love with it, which is a little sad, and I feel bad for the plants because I do believe that my plants know when I love them and know when I'm fed up with them. So perhaps they react to how I feel about them, or perhaps it's simply that it is a cycle. I see them not doing well, so I'm not happy with them, and then they deteriorate even further. I really don't know. Well, they are the three main reasons, and sometimes it's a combination of them, as to why I feel I have fallen out of love with my plants, or several of my plants. Let me know why you think you have fallen out of love with your plants, because I am definitely interested to hear that. Now I wanted to talk about what you do when you fall out of love with plants. What I have recently done is started to give away those plants to other people or friends who are very happy to get these plants. And most of these people don't have a lot of plants, so I feel like I might have inspired them to start on their plant journey, which is very satisfying. I hope they don't become as addicted as I am. And for what my friends have told me, they just love these plants and absolutely love having them in their home. And I think my plant will be so much happier in the care of someone who does love it like that, rather than with me when I felt so lukewarm about them. Another option is to sell them. And you can do that, say, through plant groups or Facebook Marketplace or Gumtree in Australia or Instagram even. Another way is to trade with other people. Perhaps a plant that you no longer love, somebody else is really mad about, and you can trade for something that you do love. Now, I have heard that some people actually throw away their plants, which I think is really sad. I would prefer to put it outside because at least I think it has a chance to live or die. And that is another option, is putting your plants outside if you have the space for it, because they may do very well outdoors, like my China doll is. One of the reasons I decided to give away some of my plants is that I really wanted to bring into my home only those plants that really speak to me, that I really love. I didn't want to just have plants for the sake of having plants. That is something I have learned over the last year particularly. Let me know what you do with the plants that you fall out of love with. I am very interested to hear, and perhaps it will give other people ideas what to do with those plants that they no longer love. Well, that's going to be it for this video. I hope you found it interesting, and definitely do let me know down in the comments or on Instagram what your thoughts are on this subject. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. And as usual, if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to my channel. I hope you all have a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend. Until next time, take care, guys. Let them now. So I'll give it more light. That's my clock. Yeah, I have to wait for my clock.